Hello everyone, it is LB 3 Point Man and I am back again with a new 2020 draft video in the summer of 2019, and this is the start of a new series I'm hoping to continue throughout the summer, which I have simply named Prospect vs. Prospect. Yes, I know that's not the most creative name, but it gets the job done. With that out of the way, let's kick things off with the best player in the 2020 draft by comparing Jeudy to Amari Cooper. Now, I wanted to start by explaining what the prospect versus prospect videos will typically be, and they're typically just going to be comparing players that had some similarities as prospects, and most of the time went to the same school. Well, if I really want to make a video comparing two players, I'm sure I can find a connection between any two players that I want, as long as they play the same position at least. So we start with comparing the current great Alabama wide receiver to the last one, who, funnily enough, is arguably the best wide receiver prospect since his own draft. Now, this is going to be a more in-depth breakdown than what I did in my last wide receiver video, so to keep it structured, I have picked 5 categories that we'll be looking at these two players in to try and get a feel for them as prospects and who overall is the better prospect. Alright, let's kick this off with our first comparison by looking at their production. We're going to start by taking a look at their raw stats. Looking at Cooper first, we'll be focusing on his junior year. Cooper had an absolutely monster junior year in terms of production. He was pummeled with targets and responded very well, putting up over 1,700 yards and 16 touchdowns, along with his 124 catches, which is crazy. Now, switching over to Jeudy, looking strictly at his sophomore year, we see a stat line that couldn't be much more different than Cooper's in terms of successful wide receivers. It's really evaluator's choice whose stat line you like more, with Jeudy producing more as a downfield threat, having about 400 less yards and nearly half as many catches. Of course, even looking at these stats from a surface level, you can tell that the offenses they operated in and their roles in said offense were completely different. Cooper operated as the main target in an offense that was not super filled with weapons, and the entire offense operated through him. Jeudy, on the other hand, played on the most stacked college offense possibly ever, with multiple first-round pick wide receivers and running backs also on the team to help take the focus off of him. If we take a look at this play, we can see the kind of routes Cooper is consistently asked to run. Shallow drag, short routes in general were a staple of his routes at Alabama. Compared to Jeudy, who in this is sent down the sideline, has a lot of planned passes thrown to him downfield. The Alabama scheme has evolved a lot since Cooper played there, and it is at least partially to blame for the discrepancy in stats between the two. Neither one fully takes this category, especially since Jeudy still has a season to play. Although with how many mouths they have to feed, I don't see how much more he could end up producing. Moving on to the next category, I'd like to talk about their athleticism. Obviously with Cooper we have his full combine results, which really helps quantify his overall athleticism, and as of this video we have nothing of the sort for Jeudy. So this is a bit of a projection, or if you want to make me look bad, you can call it a guess. But it is at least an informed guess. I have formulated from hours watching Jeudy play, and the fact that Jeudy was timed at a 4.55 in high school, which is absolutely crazy, and has at least played a bit into my idea of his speed. Cooper ran a 4.42, so we already know he's fast. But can Jeudy approach that? If we take a look at this first play, we can clearly see Cooper's speed as he's able to run away from the defender and get the angle to the outside first, to run it in for a touchdown. On this next play, we see Jeudy running a go route down the sideline from the slot, and he's able to sprint past the Ole Miss defender and keep space all the way down the field as he runs it in for a touchdown. Now looking at Jeudy, I wouldn't say he is a burner, but I also wouldn't say he lacks athletically. Running a 4.55 out of high school suggests he could be able to drop a full 10th off that time with proper training. But the sad fact is we don't have numbers for Jeudy's athleticism for at least another 9 months. So this category will also have to be a push, or you could also call it a to be decided category. The next category that I would like to talk about is hands. Now, Amari Cooper has a bit of a reputation when he got to the NFL as someone who drops the ball a bit. And, well, hearing that reputation coming out of college as well, with reports of 12 drops in his last 2 years. Of course, drops can be a bit subjective, but Cooper has had issues with focusing and having focus drops at times, and he will make some drops that some people would call boneheaded. However, I'd like to talk more about the positives in terms of both players' hands, because I believe drops overall aren't that important. When Cooper is right, he's able to fully extend for balls and catch them with soft hands. He's a great hands catcher. The same goes for Jeudy, who also is a very natural hands catcher, but also doesn't seem to have as many focus issues as Cooper does. Taking a look at this first play, we can see Cooper is able to get a step on the defender and look the ball into his outstretched hands, a gorgeous catch. Now taking a look at this play from Jeudy, we can see him fully stretch out his arms and cradle the ball with his hands before bringing it back up to his chest and continuing on. Also gorgeous. Overall, they both are great hands catchers who ideally won't be put in a lot of 50-50 situations, I think partially due to the higher number of focus drops of Cooper, I have to give Jeudy the edge on this one. Now moving on to arguably the most important aspect of playing wide receiver in route running. Looking at Amari Cooper now, you could make a case he's one of the best route runners in the NFL. At least partially because I think there's so little difference separating the top route runners that you could make a case for 15 different guys being top 5 route runners in the NFL. An argument of current Cooper versus current Jeudy would be a very interesting argument. But I think, and spoiler alert for the end of this category, the argument between college Cooper and college Jeudy is not even close. Taking a look at this first play, I wanted to highlight something that I thought was one of the strongest parts of Cooper as a route runner and as a receiver in college, and something that's consistently underrated when talking about route running, and as a player's ability to find the soft spot in zones and sit there. This is something that Cooper is very good at in the games that I watched. Now, taking a look at some things that I didn't love from him as a route runner, Cooper really seemed to run his routes lazily sometimes, really rounding off corners that could have been sharp cuts. Obviously, the throw shouldn't have been thrown anyway, but I didn't like this route. On this other play in the end zone, it's the same thing, a route that could have been done much cleaner and sharper. Also shouldn't have thrown that ball, but oh well. Moving on, I slowed down this Jeudy route to really emphasize how well he sells the inside before making 2 sharp cuts before he's going to the sideline. The defender is going to the other ball, but he wasn't even close to making a play if the ball was thrown to Jeudy. And then this next play, which I also use in my wide receiver video, is just an absolutely gorgeous curl route, which really highlights how to use small, subtle things to confuse a defender. I give the edge very heavily to Jeudy in terms of route running his prospects. Now we are through the 4 main categories, and the last category I just called Miscellaneous, to talk about a few things that I didn't think deserved full segments. First off, let's talk about wide receiver blocking. I don't care about wide receiver blocking. Based off noticing it while watching for other things, I'd say Jeudy's better, but I don't care about enough to cut clips and talk about them, so I'll just say Jeudy's better. Playing the ball in the air is something I'd like to say neither player is very good at, but I think Jeudy's a bit more physical at the catch point. Way too many times Cooper faded back instead of attacking the ball in the air, so I give the edge to Jeudy in that. Run after the catch. Yeah, they're both pretty good at it. It doesn't rank high in the pecking order for me, and they both beat a minimum of being able to make guys miss in one-on-one occasionally, so wash in that. And with that, I talked about all the major categories that I wanted to talk about. And I'm typing and recording this at 2 a.m., so I'm sure I forgot something important, but hopefully I got all the bases that I wanted. Obviously, we still have a year of Jeudy in college football before any final opinions can be formed on him, but from watching both for this video, I would say that when comparing them as prospects, which is, what this series is about, I would have Jeudy as the easy winner. I mean, this is no surprise for anyone who knows my rankings or anything. For my early viewings of the prospects for the 2020 draft, which also included players like Grant Delpit, Chase Young, and Tua, Jeudy still came out and is currently my top prospect for 2020. All in all, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a blast making it. If you liked what you saw, then don't be afraid to subscribe, as more similar content will be coming soon. I love constructive feedback. I'm always working hard to improve, so feel free to leave a comment if you believe an aspect of the video could be improved. Overall, I hope you enjoyed and that you learned something new. LB 3 Point Man out.